Okay, welcome back. My name is Eric from Breezy Bee Metal, and as you've seen in the last couple of videos we've been working on some tires for this utility trailer. So what we're going to do is, the reason I'm taking these old hubs off and we're going to be putting new hubs on is because the wheels that we painted in the last video, the lug pattern on them is like a 5 by 4.5, and these old hubs that are on here now are like a 5 by 5. In fact, I can, hold on one second, I'll show you how to tell the difference. So there's different lug patterns. I don't know all of them, but the two I'm familiar with is count your studs on here. So there's 5. So the wheels that came on this were a 5 lug by 5. So what you do is you go across and you measure from the outside of the stud, and when you go to the other side you measure to halfway on the other side. So take for instance, and I'll show you how to check this one. So what we'll do is, if you measure from the outside of this hole to the center of opposite, you get a half, you get 4.5. Well, the ones that were on there were 5 by 5 when the new wheels were putting on are 5 by 4.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this hub, and then we're going to put the new hubs on. So I bought a new set of hubs. This is a 3,500 pound axle, and I got a set of hubs that match a 3,500, and it was just a set, it was a kit. So it came with your 2 hubs, your sets of bearings, and like your inner seal, and the races were already installed. So take the cap off. There's a cotter pin, and this isn't a hard job, this is an easy job, so this is only going to take a couple minutes. So what I do is I just cut it off, or let's see if I can hit it out. Okay, that's your cotter pin. That's your axle nut. I should have put rubber gloves on. Okay, now we want to resave that washer that's there. Okay. So that's the old one. What I'm doing now is just inspecting, just to see. I don't see any damage or anything to it. It's okay. Okay, so let's go in and we're going to clean our washer, our nut, and then I'll show you how to do the new hub. Okay. So I think that's okay. Here's our washer. Okay. Okay, so I'll put a link in the description of this item. I got these off of eBay, but it was from a regular company that deals with trailer parts. So the race, the inner race and the outer race were already installed. So what I did was I used a packer to pack the new bearings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, Ethan, if you want to come over and shoot down. So they're all packed. This is the inner race. We're going to drop that in there. Okay, and then, oh, actually, I'm screwing up already. Let me throw some grease in there. So what you want to do is you kind of want to do a coating in between the two races. And this is high temp grease. Okay. So I don't do a lot of this, but it's good to redo your bearings. And like I said, the reason I'm changing and putting new hubs on is just because the other ones were old and they didn't match the new bolt pattern for the new wheels. So, okay, so I put a coating in here. I'm going to take the large, that's the large bearing, and here's your seal. So what I do is I put a little grease on this too. And then I make sure I put a little on the out because we're going to drive this in. Okay. So I'm going to set that on there. Okay, now I'm going to take a driver. Okay, so this kit, it's a Mac Tools kit. It's an old one, but I found the one that matches his size, and we're going to see about whacking this in here. You want to start it, you want to make sure it starts, sometimes it gets a little cockeyed. See, I'm shifting it over and put more pressure on one side because it's going a little cockeyed. I think they all do that until they start. Okay, and I think it's even. It's a little bit below the hub. I think it's even. So we're going to call that a win. And then we're going to go out there right now. So remember, I put grease in here too. That's your outer. Okay. Now keep in mind, don't tip it over. We don't want to drop it out. So I'll keep it where it's faced up. Let's go outside again. so now on your axle shaft, you kind of want to just be aware of where that hole was for the cotter pin. So it's going this way. So this way, when we go to put it in, we know what side it's on. Okay, so, whoops, wait a minute, get more grease, wait. Okay, so I'm going to grease this up. Okay. Okay, so we'll put the new hub on. Okay, so we pushed it where it's seated. Okay, now we want to put, now the shaft has a notch in one side, so it only goes on one way. Okay, so I'm just going to do that by hand until it stops. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the wheel on. And I have to lift the trailer up just a hair. Okay. Stand out of there. Okay. There we go. Now the kit, like I said, it came with all the parts, so that's your dust cover. Comes with new lug nuts. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to crank these lug nuts down, and then I'm going to kind of shimmy the tire to see if it moves around. I want it to spin freely, but I don't want it to go this way. I'll show you. Should have got the impact gun out here. Boy, sorry it's taking so long. I should have just brought the gun out here and did it. All right, that one. Boy, next time I'll bring the impact gun. Almost done. And this one I think is the last one. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I don't want it to go this way with it. And I do have a little play. So I'm going to cinch the axle nut, tighten it down a little bit. And I got no more play. But you got to keep in mind, you got to remember where that hole is for the cotter pin. So I think that's good there. Because if I go, yeah, see, I got to back it off a little bit. So let's see if we can line up a cotter pin. So you want to make it snug, but since it's not moving this way, got to move nice and free, okay? So, and I'm not lining up. Remember I told you to keep in mind where that hole was? Okay, where's the hole? Where'd the hole go? Oh, it's more up here. Okay, let's try that again. That's it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to trim off part of this cotter pin because it's too long. Hit that in just a little bit. There you go. Okay, time for I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the inside of this dust cap, and then we're going to hit that in. remember on that axle nut, make sure it's snug. And then if it's, you know, you got to maybe back it off just a little bit to find that hole, because that's a castle. It's a castellated nut. Like I said, you don't want it moving this way, but it should move nice and free going this way. So I got that lubed up. I'm going to throw a little bit of grease on the, I'm going to throw a little grease on the end of the nut. We're going to put the desk cap on. And then that's it. That's it. So I'll make sure now I'll torque down the lug nuts to spec, and then that's it. So maybe the next video I'll show the trailer in its entirety, but when I got it, it was really bad and it was messed up. So anyway, thank you for watching, and any questions feel free to ask. My name is Eric and the cameraman is my son Ethan. And make sure you thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.